Hello and welcome. My name is Paul C. Dwyer, Security GRC and Cybercrime Advisor. Today we're going to look at the European Convention on Cybercrime and touch upon some related legislation in Ireland. The extraordinary development of information technology has obvious consequences for traditional organised crime. While the use of data processing systems and networks is undeniably a step forward for society, it also makes it more vulnerable. Terrorist groups, pornographers and paedophile networks, illegal traffickers in weapons, drugs and human beings, money launderers and cybercriminals exploit this vulnerability. The expansion of new communication tools makes it easier for them to develop their activities. Cybercrime has been in the news lately, with stories including the WikiLeaks, hacked political sites, DDoS attacks, phishing, botnets, ATM hacking, stock price manipulation, known as pump and dump scams, and even hacking cars. It is difficult to quantify how much cybercrime is going on. One source has put the value of losses to businesses in excess of $100 billion per year. Cybercrime is to a significant extent a transnational phenomenon. The perpetrator and the victim will frequently be located in different jurisdictions, which poses acute difficulties for law enforcement agencies in investigating and prosecuting online crimes. Despite the clear need for international cooperation on cybercrime, there is yet to be a genuinely global multilateral treaty or convention dealing with this issue. Let's consider computer misuse legislation. Computer misuse legislation is relevant in two ways. Authorities and organisations can take action under it against cybercriminals. Organisations have to ensure they comply with it themselves. Directors can be personally accountable for any compliance failures. Let's look at Irish computer legislation. In Irish law, there is no individual legislation act that has specifically targeted a computer crime. Instead, computer crime has been treated as an afterthought and incorporated in acts whose primary focus is for other issues. Therefore, most of computer crime-related offences can be found in Section 5 of the Criminal Damage Act 1991 and Section 9 of the Criminal Justice Theft and Fraud Offences Act 2001. Related laws include Child Trafficking and Pornography Act 1998 and the Irish Data Protection Acts. However, with little enforcement of the data protection laws and the Criminal Damage Act carrying a maximum fine of €634, it would seem that legislation needs to catch up. If you consider that the DPP has never tried to prosecute a DDoS case, and there's even a debate if DDoS attack is illegal in Ireland, you can see how much work has to be done. The European Convention on Cybercrime. The Council of Europe Convention on Cybercrime, which entered into force in July 2004, is the only binding international treaty on the subject to have been adopted to date. It lays down guidelines for all governments wishing to develop legislation against cybercrime. Open to signature by non-European states, the Convention also provides a framework for international cooperation in this field. An additional protocol outlaws acts of racist or xenophobic nature committed through computer systems. The Council of Europe, which is not an organ of the European Union, was founded in 1949 to promote human rights, democracy and the rule of law in Europe. It currently has 47 members, including 27 members of the European Union and Russia. Though the Convention was drafted on the aegis of the Council of Europe, it is open to signature by non-members. 4 non-members participated in the negotiations of the treaty and signed it: the United States, Canada, Japan and South Africa, and 1 non-member has ratified it, the United States. The Convention is not, therefore, strictly a regional agreement, yet the fact that it has only been ratified by 1 non-European state suggests that it cannot at present be described as a global convention. Irish computer law is being updated and sources suggest the European Convention on Cybercrime is close to being ratified in Ireland. Let's look at crimes under the European Convention on Cybercrime. The Convention lists a number of crimes which signatories are required to implement in their domestic law, including hacking, child pornography offences, and certain offences related to intellectual property violations. It also sets out a number of procedure mechanisms which signatories must put in place, including granting the power to law enforcement authorities to compel internet service providers to monitor a person's online activities. Chapter 3 calls upon signatories to cooperate to the widest extent possible in the investigation and prosecution of cybercrime offences. The Convention on Cybercrime identified and defined internet crimes as offences against the confidentiality, integrity and availability of computer data and systems, which includes illegal access, illegal interception, data interference, systems interference and misuse of devices. Computer-related offences, such as computer-related forgery, computer-related fraud. Content-related offences, including offences such as related to child pornography. Offences related to infringements of copyright and related rights. Now let's look at the Director's responsibilities on the European Convention on Cybercrime. All organisations need to be aware of the Convention's provisions in Article 12, Paragraph 2. To quote, ensure that a legal person can be held liable where lack of supervision or control by a natural person has made possible the commission of a criminal offence established in accordance with this convention. In other words, directors can be responsible for offences committed by their organisation simply because they failed to adequately exercise their duty of care. The Organisation of American States and APEC have both committed themselves to applying the European Convention of Cybercrime. More than 70 countries have enacted. Let's look at the status. If you study this map, you can see the status of the organisation's territories in relation to the European Convention on Cybercrime. You can see from this map the Convention of Cybercrime has been signed by a number of states and ratified by others. Ratified as in approved in accordance with domestic constitutional requirements and thus rendered enforceable, i.e. it's law. Okay, I hope you found this video both useful and informative. Please don't hesitate to visit paulcdwyer.com or visit the icttf.org website, which is the International Cyber Threat Task Force, and you can liaise with other cyber experts in relation to the European Convention on Cybercrime and other related issues. Thank you.